Hey there, so I'm Melanie Wilson. I am the founder of Rise. Today I have Nadia with me, and Rise is a community of authentic, trustworthy, and honest women. Those are our core values. They're non-negotiables, and as a result of my commitment to consistently upholding those core values, we have created a safe place to land where the women like Nadia who are choosing to show up are met with compassionate action. What that means is instead of comparing, we're collaborating and partnering. Instead of judging, we're empathizing. We don't just stand by. No, we step into battle with you and we fight with you and for you. That's what compassionate action is. And as a result of investing in herself, investing in the Rise Up process, and taking a risk on me as her coach, she's here to share her story so you can see what that means, what that has done for her and what it could do for you. So, Nadia, thank you for being here.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so you had to bring a picture with you. Yours was on your phone.
Yeah.
I want you to talk to me a little bit about who Nadia was before Rise. What was that life like for you?
It was sad. I think I put on that kind of persona that, everything's great and I'm good and I'm strong and, I can handle everything. And, but deep inside I was, crying a lot and hiding behind tears. And, because of it, I had such anxiety and panic attacks. And for a very long time, I just kind of tried to push it in the back of my head and say, you know what, well, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And then one day I wasn't fine. I wasn't. And it took me, I'd say probably a good solid year to finally get myself back on my feet. And that was probably August of 2019. And I started to reevaluate myself, reevaluate my relationships, and decided that the place that I was a year before in 2018 was a place I never wanted to go to again.
Okay.
And so in order to do that, I had to change things for me. And so I slowly started trying to, I was going to counseling and I was talking with her and, I just felt like I needed something more, someone more to dig a little deeper for me and to pull things out a little deeper for me to get me over that hurdle. And I heard through a friend about you and all the wonderful things you were doing. And so I was like, I think this is my answer. I think Melanie is my answer to help pull those things and help me get over that hurdle. So we connected in November of 2019, and it's been life-changing for me. I still struggle sometimes with the hiding in the background sometimes, but I definitely don't do it as much as I used to. And I'm definitely focusing more on me and what makes me happy, and I'm letting all the other negativity try and fall to the back side of my head. And and when things come up, I'm kind of like, whatever, this is where I'm going. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward for me. I'm moving forward for my kids. If I don't focus on me, I'm not going to be able to focus on anybody else.
Right.
So I have to put myself forward. So now, who I am now and who I was, like, let's even say 6 months ago, it's really different. And I'm really happy with where I am now compared to 6 months ago.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first Rise event that you attended. How did you feel coming into that? What did you see? And then what was the turning point for you that you were like, I'm doing this. I'm going to stand up, take the risk, and I'm going to invest in me?
Well, I was afraid of you. I'm not going to lie.
Seems to be a consistent theme here. But
Well, when Mel and I were talking, she had joined before I did, and she had been to your event, and she was like, she is going to hold you accountable. You cannot bluff anything, and you can't shortchange anything. She's gonna call you out. And I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? She's gonna call me out in front of all these people. But I said, you know what? That's exactly what I need. I need someone to finally call me out and say, you know, that's crap. Like,
Right.
we're not dealing with that anymore. So my first Rise event was the breast cancer evening that we had at the winery. And, you know, just listening to you and listening to the girls that gave their statements that night, you know, I'm not alone by any stretch. And we all, as women, are always fighting something internally. You know, whether it's, you know, stress and anxiety, whether it's comparing yourselves to others, whether it's just, you know, feeling defeated and feeling like you can't go anywhere or move anywhere. We all have this common connection. And it was that night that I came to you after and I said, okay, let's do this. And so, you know, and here I am, and I'm still here, and you haven't killed me yet.
Not yet, not yet.
And it was one of the best decisions I made was to invest in myself and put that time and effort into myself.
So what are some of the significant changes that you have seen as a result of our partnership and this process?
Physical, working out,
Yes.
which that's huge for me. That was always a place that I would fail. You know, I would say, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'd sign up for the gym. You know, a month later, not at the gym. I found every excuse under the sun not to go to the gym. So for me, being in the gym since, you know, the end of November, you know, that's been so, like, I'm so proud of myself for that.
Right.
But that's only because I have a cheerleader and I have someone saying, let's get there. We got to get this done. And so my physical well-being is improving. And because of that, my mental well-being is improving. And our discussions, our one-on-ones that we have. And, you know, I feel like I'm utterly honest with you and you tell me, you know, how to handle situations. So I feel like I'm getting more confident every day with you know, things that we're talking about and how I'm seeing the world and seeing myself as a big one. How I see myself has really changed.
It has.
Yeah.
You sparkle. You
Aw.
sparkle.
It's not the makeup.
No, it's the good stuff. You know, we really talk about the mental and physical well-being, and neither of those were going well for you.
No.
Let's talk a little bit about your story. Let's talk about what it is that was going on that kept you in that very unhealthy state of mind, which then directly impacted your physical well-being as well.
So many years ago, my husband and I came to a point in our marriage that we were no longer being intimate. So I wasn't getting that feeling of being wanted or needed or appreciated. And so I started to dig my hole and say that I wasn't pretty enough. I was too fat. I was too ugly. I wasn't worthy, you know, and I just dug this really terrible hole. And I kept just saying those things over and over. And every time I got rejected, it was because of one of those things. And at that point, it was, well, no one's ever going to want me. If, you know, my own husband doesn't want me. How is anybody else going to want me, you know? And so I lived in, you know, this is what my life is going to be. And it was miserable. And I probably looked pretty meek and meager and probably didn't look a lot of people in the eye. You know, and so as time has gone on and I made that change in about August 2019, and I started slowly saying to myself, you know what, it doesn't have to be this way anymore, and it's not going to be this way, and I can't continue to live this way. And like I said, the counselor, she was helping, but I needed something more, and I needed that attention to get me over that hurdle, because I spent my entire life comparing myself to others and, and always saying that it must be something wrong. I did something wrong. It was never that anybody else did anything wrong. It was me. What did I do wrong? And I apologized all the time for things and that I probably should have never apologized for. But I couldn't see what everybody else was seeing. And I would blow it off. Well, you're just saying that because you're, my family or my friends.
Right.
So it was hard for me to believe when people started saying these things. But with the tribe and everybody cheering me on and you cheering me on, and I'm starting to feel that. I'm feeling like, yes, I am beautiful and I am worthy, and
Yes.
I there's something more for me out there. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So a couple weeks ago, you had sent me kind of a text out of desperation. Like you emotionally were really just not in a good place. And we sat down together. It was freezing. We were outside, but we did it.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what that felt like for you. And one of the things I want to draw attention to is you said a few minutes ago about not wanting to look people in the eye. And that was something specific that I actually called you out on during that meeting. So tell me a little bit about what you felt during that session.
That was due to the divorce, and my husband and I made that decision. He's the one that brought it up first, and I felt like he was fast forwarding everything, like immediately, divorcing, getting paperwork done, and finding new places. So, I mean, it felt like it was on fast forward, and previously I couldn't get him to be motivated to do anything. I couldn't get him motivated to fix our relationship, but here he is, so incredibly motivated to get out of a marriage, and it hurt, and I had all these emotions. I think anybody that's gone through a divorce understands that. I mean, you experience every emotion under the sun in such a short amount of time, and because I'm controlling, I couldn't get a grab on any of it, and I just felt so chaotic in my head, and so I reached out to you to help center me, and so when we met that day, I wanted so desperately to organize, wanted to organize things, and I couldn't, and you told me that I'm not going to be able to do that, and that I'm going to have to just take it one day at a time, and every day is going to be different, and that I'm going to get through it, and because I'm stronger than I was before, and and I went home, and I made the decision. You said to me that the answers I was trying to find, I was not going to get them. I wasn't going to get them all those months ago that I was asking for them, so why would I think I was going to get them now? And I gave up on trying to get those answers because it didn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So
what does matter?
Me and moving forward. That's what matters. And I can only control me and how I respond to things. And, you saying to me, you can't give him the power. And that hit really hard for me because I've always thought that I was, before I got married, I went to college. I didn't go home. I lived out on my own. I got my job. I paid for my apartment. I bought my car. I was standing on my own 2 feet. And I was very independent. And I said through my life that I was never going to do that, give a man power over me. And I guess through the 20 years, I did. And I didn't realize it. And then when you said that to me, I said, that's it. I'm done. I can't give him that power over me anymore because that's not going to help me at all. It's only going to keep me in that place that I've been putting myself for years. So I let go of that. And because of that, I think my husband and I are able to be amicable now in the divorce because I'm not angry and not resentful. And I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of seeing me feel like I'm crumbling or any of that. So,
It's powerful. Well, let's talk about the eye contact.
Oh gosh, okay.
So during that session, you kept looking down, and even when you're in one of my workout classes, what do I constantly yell? Don't look down because why?
We're not going that way.
You're not going that way.
We're not going that way.
But you kept looking down. And I stopped you and I said, Nadia, look me in the eye when you're talking to me. What did that feel like? And did you notice the shift when I made you look me in the eye?
Yeah. I think for me, I was ashamed. I was ashamed that my marriage had failed. And by looking you in the eye, I had to really acknowledge it and acknowledge my feelings. But looking you in the eye made me stronger because I could look at you and say these things, and you looked right back at me, and your eyes told me I was going to be okay. It's important that I look at you.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I'm stronger, and I can hold my head up and look at you, and I can look at everybody. It's a journey that I've been on for a long time, but those feelings that I had of not being worthy, that's why I always look down. But I don't do that anymore.
You don't.
No.
You don't. You look up and you smile.
I do.
I think one of the most valuable things with our partnership and with Rise is you are truly being seen, not for what we think you should be or because of what you've done, but because of who you actually are. And none of those things define you. And when you can look someone in the eye, like you were able to do with me that day, and be seen, there's like this peace that comes over you. And it's so powerful.
I think that's all women want, is to be seen and be heard. And there's not a lot of people out there that genuinely look at you and see you and hear you. And so for me, it's, I've been to so many counselors through my life. I mean, I've suffered from depression for a long time, and I never felt like anybody really heard me.
Right.
They would act like they heard me and they'd say things, but you were the first person I felt like heard me and seeing me. And that has made all the difference for me to move forward and not stay in a state of, depression and not feeling worthy.
Right. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. So let's talk about coping mechanisms. Obviously, being in a state of depression, having to learn to live with anxiety, and having the trauma and the pain and the hurt and all of that stuff going on, we learn to cope. But what were the coping mechanisms that you were choosing to implement that weren't actually doing anything beneficial for you or for your circumstance?
Hiding, shutting down. My one girlfriend, she always said she knew when I wasn't okay because I stopped talking. I wouldn't call her. I wouldn't communicate. And so she'd reach out to me and go, okay, what's going on? I just would shut and go inward. And there are so many events that I didn't participate in because I was so depressed and withdrawn. And I thought that's how I could mend it. If I took a step back and just huddled in my corner, and then I would be okay in a couple days, and then I'd come out again. And then it was repetitive, though. Every time I got hit, I would curl up again. And it was just this vicious cycle that I would do. I'd withdraw and, cry, and then come back out and be like, okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. But really that vicious cycle has been going on for so long for me. That's the only way I knew how to, that was my coping mechanism. And now that's not how I cope with it. I may get a little quiet because that's kind of me, but in my head, the dialogue that I have in my head is not the way it used to be. Now it is, you're fine, you're going to get through this, you are stronger than you think, look ahead. I say more positive things in the inner dialogue than I used to, which helps. So maybe I'm only quiet for, a couple of hours, whereas before it was a couple days, right? But then, my mood switches and I feel better. And this whole journey with the divorce and things, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I was going to be emotional, but I'm actually handling it better than I thought I could. So I'm really kind of excited about that.
Right.
Because I'm not slipping backwards. So I'm putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward.
Yes, you are. Even a baby step
Yeah.
is still a step
That's
forward.
right. Absolutely.
So let's talk about if you didn't take the risk, invest in you, the Rise Up process, engaging with me as your coach, what would your life look like right now?
It wouldn't have changed. I would have stayed very depressed, popping anxiety medication, hiding in my corner, withdrawn, you know, acting like I was okay, but feeling like I wasn't. And I truly believe that what happened in August of 2018 with my mental breakdown, that I was heading back to that place again. And I truly believe that I would have hit there again. So that has been kind of a driving force too, because I don't want to go back there. So I'm doing what I have to do and what I need to do to fix that so I don't go back there. And you are the one that's giving me those coping mechanisms now so I don't go back there.
That's powerful. It's powerful. So there's women watching this, women who are sitting there quite possibly sobbing, thinking that's me.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally watching my story. What does she need to know? What truth can you speak into her life knowing exactly where she's sitting?
You absolutely don't have to stay there. Absolutely. There's brighter days ahead, but you have to invest in you. You have to make the time for you. You know, as moms and as wives and partners, like, you tend to want to cater to everybody else. And I'm a type A personality, and so I always...
And stubborn. I will say stubborn. She's
I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to deny. But that stubbornness and that, you know, it was easier for me just to do it myself than to ask anyone else to do it or to help. So I felt like I had to control everything. And with that came, I didn't have time because I had to do X, Y, and Z. There's no time for the gym. I have to do this. I mean, there's an endless list. If I go to the gym, I'm not going to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning. I made all of these excuses, you know, but you don't have to control it all. You don't. And it's baby steps for me to let go of some things. But it's not important. I have to ask myself, is it important?
Right.
Is it going to make a difference? Is it important? Is it important that I get those dishes done right now? No.
Right.
So instead of that, instead of all that stuff that I can give you a list of not to go to the gym, not one of them is worth anything, you know, and it doesn't feel as good as it feels to invest in myself. So those dishes can stay in the sink for a week. I don't care.
Right.
I've got to make that time for me, because if you don't, it's just, you're going to look back and regret so much.
Right.
So much.
So we talk about self-love. Like, I really try to drill that into each of you. And a lot of times, very new in this process, self-love equates to selfish for us as moms. If we're loving ourselves well, that means we're not doing something for our kids, with our kids, for our husband, coworkers, whatever that may be. So talk to me a little bit about how you weren't loving yourself well before and how you're choosing to now commit to what matters to you, show up in your life, and love yourself well.
I have to be selfish. I do. I have to be selfish for me. If I don't work on me, then my kids don't see the best version of me.
Right.
My girlfriends don't see the best version of me. My family, my coworkers, I can't give them all of me, and I can't give them, you know, what they deserve if I'm not investing in myself and not being authentic to myself.
Right.
So I have to put this time in to better myself and make myself stronger so that I can be strong for everyone else. And just like we've talked about, there are people watching me doing this, and I want those people to come with me and rise with me,
Right.
because there's so many women who just suffer silently, and you don't have to.
Right.
You don't.
I think the most powerful thing with our story, with Rise, with the community, is the healing is a wonderful thing, but what really blows it up is when you can turn around and give that to another woman. So, sharing your story is so powerful. And, for years I hid because I didn't want people to know. And that coping mechanism that you had, I had the same thing. If I got to a point where I thought someone might see the brokenness, I literally ran and hid.
Yeah.
I would disappear. And it didn't do anyone any good.
No.
So I don't do that anymore. And as a result, I'm now being given the opportunity where God's using my story, my brokenness, to be vulnerable and to speak my truth. And sharing my story is connecting with women like you. And now there's light. And where there's light, darkness can't exist. So we're driving it out.
Yes.
One woman at a time,
Yes,
we're driving
doing
it out.
We're doing it.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So what has been your favorite moment, your favorite thing, your favorite experience being part of Rise, working with me? Tell me something that's your favorite.
I only can pick one.
Okay, I'll give you 3, no more than 3. Don't overthink it.
Well, honestly, first and foremost, I have a true cheerleader in you. I don't think there's a more supportive, even of my family and my friends. They're not, they're cheerleaders, but you are genuine in what you say and what you do. And so it's very authentic for me, and that means so much to me because I know that it comes from a place of love and wanting to help. So that's, the first thing. Like, I love being at the gym with you because you motivate me and you push me, and I don't want to throw daggers at you. But I look at you and I look at your eyes and I listen to your voice, and it's so soothing, and it helps me, and it makes me push those couple extra more, seconds in a plank, and I do it. So that's, for me, one of the greatest parts of Rise is having you.
And before we even continue, let's stop and celebrate for a minute. So you're in the Rise Up Strong Challenge.
Yes.
You're committed to you. You're committed to your goals. You're showing up to the gym. Yes, I'm going to threaten and come get you if I have to. But
and she will.
What are you noticing? What has happened as a result of that?
I've lost 10 pounds.
Yes.
I'm starting to see, some clothes fitting a little nicer. But I have more strength, and I'm getting stronger. And
so we're not only noticing the mental transformation, but we're now seeing the physical transformation as well.
Yeah.
If mentally you weren't growing and healing and overcoming, do you think you could accomplish what you are physically?
No.
Why not?
No. Because I would have continued to make excuses in my head on why I, couldn't go to the gym, or the depression, I'm just going to go to bed, and, whatever. I would have made so many excuses. This, to me, it's you can't have one without the other. For me, I have to have mental and physical together, because they play off of each other for me. So I couldn't do this mentally with you without doing the physical part, and vice versa. So for me, they go hand in hand. So that's really important to me.
And I'm so proud of you for that. It's like when you stepped on the scale, and then we tested your body fat percentage and your BMI, and we're measuring, and we're like, stuff's going up that needs to go up, stuff's coming down that needs to come down. That was a moment to really pause and celebrate.
It was
celebrate. There was so
awesome.
much more involved in that moment than just the number on the scale.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. It kept me driven. It kept me, in my head. I'm going, all right, I can do this, and I'm going to the gym. I'm coming back because I got a lot more to lose. But it wasn't, I knew what I had been doing and the effort I was putting in was paying off.
Right.
And I knew that, continuing, to do this mentally and physically, it was going to pay off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to that place where I'm stronger than ever.
Yep.
So, and confident. So, yeah.
And each day you are stronger than you were the day before.
Absolutely.
Each day you're more confident than you were the day before.
Absolutely.
So we talked about how you're being watched. That's one of the things that I really want you to be aware of, because, one of our hashtags is I rise up for her.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we invest in us and we're self-focused to make it happen. But when we rise up, it's not just for ourselves. We're also rising up for her.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, are people recognizing the changes in you? Are they seeing the results of your hard work?
Yeah. Yeah. I had, actually, it's a friend of mine, she does my hair. And so several weeks ago, I went in to get my hair done, and she goes, you look great. Like, you look so light. And she's like, she could see it in my face, that I guess that drawl of the depression that I was walking around with for so long, I didn't think was that visible to others, but obviously it was. And, and she's like, you look so much brighter and happier. And I was like, yeah, well, I am. And so, for her to say that. And then I've had people mention, oh, you're losing weight. And, yeah, I am.
Yeah. And the weight thing is good, but when you have someone say, like, I can see it in your face,
Yes.
like, that's like, wow, I'm really wearing that emotion
Yes.
so out in the forefront. Here, I think I'm hiding it.
Right.
Like, this smile's working, but...
Absolutely. It's not, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even in my picture, even though I'm smiling in the picture, if you look at my eyes, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
It's like an emptiness.
It is. And the smile, I don't feel like is genuine.
Yeah.
And so I think there's very few pictures that I can look back on and say that it was a genuine smile.
Right.
And that's probably ones with my kids and my niece. That was a true, genuine, they make me so happy.
Yeah.
And now, since I'm feeling that now, I feel like my pictures from here on out are going to start to reflect that too.
Oh, they are.
So,
They are.
Yay.
They are. So let's say you've got this one opportunity to speak life into the women watching. What words of wisdom do you want to share? What is something that you absolutely feel they must know?
Life is about risks and chances.
Okay.
And if you don't take the chance, don't take that opportunity, don't take that risk, you're never going to know. I could have easily said, I'm not going to call Melanie. I'm not,
Right.
I could have let that go, but I didn't. I tend to be kind of private sometimes, and I don't like a lot of people knowing my business, and I don't like to admit failures and admit things that are really private for me. But I said I have to take that chance to see, what's on the other side. It can't be any worse than it is now. So it's either going to keep me where I am, or it's going to make me better. And I'm going to take that risk and that chance that it's going to get better. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is take the chance, take the risk. No amount of money and time that you think you don't have,
Right.
it's not worth what you're feeling right now. Like, this to me it's invaluable. Your time is, that you're taking for me, it means so much to me, that you're investing in me. So
And do you know why I do that?
because you love me.
Even bigger than that. Because you're worth that. I see you. I see the woman that you were, and I see the woman that you can become, and I see who you are right now. And it's worth it. And it's
Yeah.
worth it.
It is.
So
Absolutely.
would you say, as a result of the Rise Up process and engaging with me and being part of the community, that you are seeing yourself beginning to flourish?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think all of the women in our tribe, can say that they all feel the same way. We've all improved in some way or another.
Right.
I don't think any one of us can say that we're the same person we were months ago.
Definitely
because-
not.
So,
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Skinnier, happier, healthier,
Right.
all good stuff.
All the things.
good
All
stuff.
the things.
Yeah, such good stuff. So, what I want to challenge you with, those women who were sitting on the other side watching this, hearing Nadia's story, hearing my story, if it resonates with you and you are finally ready to break those chains of depression, anxiety, of feeling stuck,
Yes.
of running and hiding and not getting any better, just settling because it is what it is, if you're finally ready to break those chains and flourish, this is what you need to do.
Yeah, reach out. You have to. It's a world of difference. All for the good.
Well, thank you, Nadia. I appreciate you coming.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And you cried pretty cry. It wasn't a Carrie
gosh,
Underwood ugly
it
cry.
was an ugly cry.
It was good. So
Well,
thank you. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
showing up for me in this way, because I can talk about Rise and the process and what we do, but when it comes from your heart, having experienced it and gone through it, that's where the sweet stuff is.
Yeah.
It
Well,
really.
you're investing in me, so I'm investing in you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.